Welcome to a special edition and full-length commentary of Punch Drunk Love. Make sure that your DVD is set at 00 and I'll give you a signal so that we could start this together. You can watch this along with the movie or listen to it as a standalone podcast. I'll try and point out lots of things about the film, try and break it down a little bit, and try and share my experience on why I love this movie. So let's get ready to start the movie in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, welcome, let's get into it. This film, I love it. Paul Thomas Anderson is such a brilliant director. I've analysed a few of his films on YouTube. People seem to be enjoying it. And he's a filmmaker that every aspect of the film goes into telling the same story. And that's why this opening sequence tells us everything we need to know about Barry. The first shot here is coming up. No introductory credit sequence or names on the wall, just image. This tells us that along with the color sequences, this is a self-created, isolated area where Barry can feel safe. He blends in, almost like camouflage, the blue on the wall, the blue on his jacket, the blue on his tie. And it's an area where he can be safe. Somewhere with dark shadows. And if we look at this shot, the amount of space just really emphasizes the theme of loneliness that's going to play throughout the film. Love the opening sentence of the film, which is I'm still on hold. And I think that plays into Barry's created this isolation, this antisocialness in his life. And it's almost as if his life's been waiting for something. And he's on hold, he's in hiding, and he needs something to shake him up. And he's not going to do it because it's not his thing. He doesn't do things like that. He needs something from the exterior to shake him up. And that takes us nicely to this part. Going through the darkness, we get a little glimpse of the outside world. The color palette on this film is very specific. The blues and the reds and the whites are very carefully used, and we'll talk about that more as the film goes on. There's a little glimpse here of the outside world. Now, what happens next has confused a lot of people. The car crash, and then the harmonium showing up. What I think it means is the outside world for Barry brings two things. It brings danger, and it brings the possibility of love. So here it is. That's definitely dangerous. He's in shock. He's not liking it at all. But straight after that, boom, here is harmonium. Now, as intrigued as he is, we see that straight after this point, reaction shot, he's going to retreat into his cave. He's going to retreat into his area because he does not like the possibility of this. This little shot, I love how it pushes it forward, gives you a little glimpse of what's tempting Barry. What's teasing him. So anyway, back inside the cave here. You'll notice a lot throughout the film as Barry is connected to the outside world through phones. He's always speaking to people on phones. There's a point in the film where he asks a woman's name, and she says what it is, and she's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." That's how he makes relationships, is over the phone. And it's what gets him in trouble a little bit later on as well. Just there a little bit how he's crossing the boundary between what's socially acceptable and not discussing his home telephone number. Just little touches there, just great pieces of writing. So here we go. Mirroring the shots that we've just seen, walking out, turning left and going up to the danger and the love area, we're seeing things happen again. We come out, we turn left, lovely little lens flare there, that'll come into play a little bit later on. He still sees the piano, the harmonium. The harmonium brings into his life Lena. This is the introduction of Lena. He knows that things outside his world bring him danger, but there's a possibility there could be something else. And his initial action is to retreat. I love this little interplay between the two of them. There's a theory that Lena is an alien, And she's mentioned it in interviews as well, that her character is kind of alien-esque. And a lot of her presence is coupled with lens flares. And people have always said because she's dropped in and she comes from a far off place. I like to think of it as kind of sparks flying between the two of them. And you see a little bit of that later in Hawaii. But this initial little bit of trust between the two of them is a nice moment. Now you'll notice that the harmonium connects the two of them, and the harmonium at this point is directly in between the two of them, but very, very far away. That will come closer and closer and then bring them right together later on in the film. Now, as scared as Barry Egan is, he's just funny. As scared as he is, he watches her all the way down here. Past the car, past the harmonium. Oh, I shouldn't be watching, but he is. Adam Sandler is hilarious in this film. Now, retreats back into his protective area that he's created, but we've got half a light screen and half a dark screen. Just showing us that as much as he wants to retreat into the darkness, he cannot help but be tempted as he peeks out this little bit here into the light. I love this little shot here. This is great. So now that he's came out and he makes a decision to bring the harmonium into his life, he finally makes a decision to do this. We see a huge wide shot here, and he is exposed from all different angles. And we see another flip round right here. There it is, and we'll see another one, and he is completely exposed emotionally, and then all of his surroundings are different. Cue the truck. We'll see a few more trucks actually. That might be the same one as we have had before. Right, he's running back in with the harmonium. Notice how Lena's car is in the foreground here on the right. Just a little connection that just shows that he's still in her mind, or she's still in his mind. I think it's funny how he runs back into his comfort zone. Finally brings something back in. Now these are interesting shots because there's extreme darkness, but then there's a little bit of really hot light just penetrating right through. And that's just the mixture of what's going on in his mind here. There's light coming into his dark world. There's the possibility of something new. There's danger mixed with the love here. Because what he really wants is to confront his antisocial nature. But there's a lot of discomfort that he has in taking these steps here. Look, there's another little lens flare connecting him with Lena and with the harmonium. Now, what happens next is here is important. There's a little glow of yellow on his face as we push in with the light. Yellow will be used again as a color to represent hope, the possibility of bringing something into his life, which starts with the harmonium and will finish with Lena. A little bit of yellow on the face. We'll see this again. However, immediately disrupted by blast of light interrupting his life, or interrupting his world. Look at the overexposure there, that's great. I love his character in this film. He's very passive, but he seems to love Barry a lot, and I like him for that. I think it's great. Look at the map, even on the back of the wall, with the red and the blue outer going around the map there. It's great. It's just a little bit extra color for the color palette connecting the two of them. I love how he never knows the answer to any questions. That's funny. cue entrance. But these images here, everybody's has always talked about it being a very dreamlike film, and this is almost as Philip Seymour Hoffman is the dark nightmare coming in and trying to destroy him, something that he must face. That's as good an interpretation as any like that. Little Hawaii jingle there. It's almost a little prologue here for the whole film. Just in sound design and image, color. This is a funny scene. This is so you notice that Barry Egan's tie, whatever tie he wears, is basically how he feels. He starts the film with a blue tie. Really, it's his self-created loneliness of the area that he lives in and the suit that he wears, and the tie is how he feels. And the tie is his heart. The tie is what will change as the film goes on. This is where we get introduced to his sisters, and his sisters tease and play with him. And there's a little super strength there for our Superman fans. Oh, no, it's coming up later. I love how he's trying to be so professional, but it's almost as if his sisters seem to ruin every aspect of his life. It's his personal life, but even his work and professional life as well. I love how there's a little shot of the roof here, just showing the world kind of closing in on him a little bit. It's the first time I've seen the roof. Chatty, Mr. Chatty. Yeah, they give him a hard time. That's a shame. He gets Trey. That's a shame. This is it here. This is the unbreakable handle. This is the little beginning of Barry's super strength. Smash. And he gets it on his lip here. Wait till you see him try and pull it off. Look at the two of them jump back here. Yeah, they always jump back. It's funny. And there's all the glass tubes there. I've said before is a little bit reminiscent of the Fortress of Solitude. Even this glass container he's in here as an office is a little bit. Did you see that little lens flare there just on the harmonium? I love how that connects with him all the time. Now, with the score building up and getting a little bit frustrated, and him getting frustrated, look at the bottom right there, that little guy trying to smash it. Anyway, a little bit of lens flare over the harmonium. I love how everything seems to be building and building and building and getting worse and worse. And the harmonium, what that allows him to do is gives him a moment to breathe. And you'll hear the score even settle for a moment here. Just brings a bit of peace into his life. Bang. The world that he's created around him, you almost can't see it. You almost can't see through it. I don't know about the connections here, but I love this little scene he has his lunch on. I think it's brilliant. Alright, there's the little lens flare with her car. It's just showing that she's in his mind. She's in his thoughts. And this guy I've always thought is very cinematic looking. I love his beard. Great beard. Right, here we go. A little bit of the sister. Look how fast she approaches. She is evil. I love how Barry just about jumps away before standing up. Still with a blue tie on. Paul Thomas Anderson has talked about in interviews before about people who say the opposite to what they actually mean. So they say yes before they say no. They say, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And that's something that Barry does. I think that's great. Look how she has just cornered him. Just using the settings of the film to like physically corner him here. They play it to him tight. That's a real shame. I love the way he tries to talk himself out here. This is brilliant. It's quite good acting from Adam Sandler. I mean, this at the time, this was a huge role for him. This was not controversy, but there was a lot of shock, especially after Paul Thomas Anderson doing Magnolia, and then doing a romantic comedy with Adam Sandler. Look, I'm just turning away right into the corner. I love his multiple approach here. I can't remember if there was a cut scene or if it was mentioned somewhere else, but there's a scene where Barry's phoned and asked to go get a cake, but then it turns out that they have another cake, and that's why he arrives here with his little thing. I think these seven sisters, I think they are sisters in real life. I'm sure I read that somewhere. Now the point about the sisters is there's a constellation that is called the Seven Sisters, and because Barry is related to the Seven Sisters, his blood runs through the same veins as or it's not the same veins, but the same. He has the same blood as the Seven Sisters. Just shows that Barry has a bit of an astrological origin, and when thinking about the Superman theory, just as an outsider coming from Krypton to Earth, it just made a bit of sense to me. See, they already had a cake. A little bit of red around the trim of the window there, just showing a little bit of Lena, who's represented by red, just in his subconscious. Business is very food. That was a typo in the script that they kept in because Paul Thomas Anderson thought it was really funny, and then repeated that later on in the film. It's great here how he's at a real social event, and you can hear through the sound design that there's a lots and lots of people there. But it's very smart what they do is they remove the sister in a second, and we just see Barry looking at everything, but we see him alone, almost as if even though he's in a completely social area, he is so isolated. I love this little push in here. That's good. They always call him names. So he's going to smash the windows in a second. There's something to notice. It depends on what DVD you watch on. There's on the right hand wall here, there's a picture of a Barry in a little frame. And then on the left hand side, there's images of the sisters. Right, let's have a look. See on the wall, top right, Barry there with a little house. Left, right over to the left, is all the sisters. Just to show the separation between the sisters and then the brother. This has always been a great little scene. I love how Thomas Anderson writes little scenes. Barry, I'm a dentist. This is just playing into the antisocial isolation themes here, just confirming it for the audience. Now, Barry's quite a passive character most of the film, but this is quite interesting because he is actually seeking some help and taking some action himself. And as much as he finds discomfort on it, he's looking for a way to change himself, to get better, to improve and experience better things, and have better things in his life. That's a great line. That's a great line. I don't know if it was intended, but this scene, I think it's so touching, but it makes me laugh at the same time. It's just Adam Sandler. You watch him, and he's just funny. I love how he just walks and escapes here into the green room. That's the sister's color, kryptonite. Alright, huge change in setting here. This is the shopping mall. It's the light is hope for Barry. This is where he finds hope. There's an obstacle later on in the film where Barry might not be able to spend time with Lena because she travels so much. This hope will will help overcome the obstacle and eventually bring him to her. They love the frequent flyer miles here. So this is where he finds a little bit of freedom, a little bit of hope. And as a kind of socially isolated person, he does a lot of talking to himself and he tries to suss things out together. Well, with him in his mind. That show always messes me up. It always gives me a sore head. Healthy Choice Promotional Airlines. Okay, look at the person at the back here. We've got a wee red image. That looks like an old man, to be honest. But anyway, here, the red person right in the background, right down the hallways there, that's just a little bit of Lena and Barry's subconscious. That's what it could be. He looks around to see if he can see her here. That's how you know it's intentional. There's just been drawn a little bit of attention to it. Yeah, and then he turns and looks again, and she leaves. Just showing that she's in the back of his mind. We'll see a little bit. See a little bit of that again later. Pudding. Alright, here's where we take a little bit of turn for the worst here. His need for loneliness drives him to do something bad, which prompts the antagonist of the film. So the thing that's going to stop him in his film, which is Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, his loneliness and his desire sparks that in the first place. I'm not sure what that's on the TV there. I'm sure I've read somewhere there's an Apollo moon landing thing somewhere. I'm not sure if that's it or not. There's another little theme that might play into Lena being an alien. Now, if this is Barry's home, this is his designed space where he lives. You just look at the emptiness and the way that they film it. They always film him in the corner of a frame, or they film him far away from the frame, so he's a distance from the audience. And what struck me the first time watching this scene is, if this is supposed to be a sexy moment for him, the amount of formalities that he has to go through, the amount of numbers he has to give out, and then the way he has to act when he goes through this, I've always found it really funny. I mean, just look at the shot here. We've got blues, we've got whites. Look at that little shift over there. We've just got him in the corner of the frame again. So look at the amount of white space that we've got here, just ramping up the loneliness in his life. Completely confidential. It's going to come back and haunt him shortly. I'm not sure where that juice is on the table, but it's blue. It plays into the colour scheme there. A little bit of lens flare from the... Now notice again that Barry is connecting to the outside world through the telephone. He's in his private space, he's in his area, there's another phone on the left there, and he's connecting through his world from a telephone. And I don't think this is a sexual call. I think it's just he's lonely. He wants to speak to somebody, and that's how it starts out. Look at it. He's still going with the formalities of this. I love how much they drag this out. I love this little camera move they do right here. He puts the phone down, and the camera shifts over to the left, just reminding the audience that the phone is there, and he's given all his information, and now he's sitting with nothing. The first couple of times I watched it, I still had the feeling that nobody was ever going to phone him back, and that was it. And he'd been taken advantage of. And he will be taken advantage of a bit later. They do make him wait a little while. I notice again that he says this is back instead of this is Jack. Just continuing that theme of saying the wrong thing by accident. Georgia Peach. Always liked here how in the background that you just seen it on the fridge there. There's some red items just showing us that even though we're in Barry's world, that there are little elements of Lena just leaking through here. You can always see the cameraman and there's a bit of red on the wall. You see the cameraman in the frame sometimes, and the reflection on the wall. I'll flag it up if I see it. And just the fact that he's so literal about all the questions is, he's just lonely. He just wants to speak to somebody. He asks where she is. He asks what she's up to, and it was only. I wonder if we see him here. I didn't see him. There's only when I watched this for the first couple of times, and then I realized that this is all one take. This is incredible. And they do a little crazy camera move here that I believe was an accident when they first did it. But Paul Thomas Anderson loved it so much that they rehearsed it and they repeated it. They made him do it a few times. So we'll zoom in, and then we'll just go all wonky here. I don't know why they do that, but PDA seemed to love it, and he knows his stuff, so I'm sure it was for a reason. Any ideas about what it was or what it adds? Comment below and let us know. Very personable. That's funny. And just look again how we've got the white areas, but then we've also got the cupboard here. The cupboard at this side of the left, and on the right. And just before we moved in here, what we're doing with the items that are in the frame is we're trapping Barry. We've got a little bit going on here as we're just trapping Barry in the middle. And we'll see this a lot of times in the film, as well as being socially isolated and framed so that there's a lot of space next to him. We also frame him in between a lot of things so that he is trapped and he is vulnerable. Now we give it a little spiral around and we just look straight at the light. This is kind of similar to the shot in Taxi Driver when Travis is confessing to the woman and it's almost too embarrassing to listen to what he's saying, and we pan away. And this is a similar thing right there. Is the audience it's too embarrassing to watch him here, so we turn and we get a right glimpse of the white, which is white is loneliness in the film. White is all the colours of the walls, and although Barry chooses his clothes, he's got blue because that's his colour, but white is his loneliness. I don't think he knows who it is on the phone when he answers. The colour of his tie is different. We've got a yellow tie on here. I don't know if it's because he's taking steps in his life to try and deal with his loneliness, and even though not much has really changed, he's maybe feels happy and a little bit satisfied with these little steps he's taken, and maybe his heart's changing a little bit, so it's maybe just a different mood. We've got yellow here. Now look again at the frame and we've got extreme white everywhere, the background, foreground. We've got heavy shadows and we've got him trapped right in the middle of the frame by the two walls. So it's almost as if the image is split into thirds and he's in the middle third. Now as he gets kind of bribed here, he's going to back up and we will just push in and not let him get away from the camera. Just another little technique that Paul Thomas Anderson uses just to show us the vulnerability and the unescapable situation that he's in. And I love how there's a little bit of reflection on the right here on the side of the door, just showing that this is a moment of reflection for him, where he's made a bad decision and now he's got to deal with the consequences. Oh, this is it, where she crosses the line and Barry's had enough. All your credit card information. Okay, so the score begins now, and it will ramp up and get more and more intense as events happen. Look at that pudding stacked up there, that's hilarious. He's still got the phone in his hand. That happens again a few times in the film. No, no, no. So, this is a moment of worrying. And I love how we're behind a lot of things here. We're behind the harmonium, so we're almost trying to make Barry feel a little bit claustrophobic, whatever that is on the right there, just trapping his character just in the frame so that there isn't a lot of space for him. So what does he do? He turns to the harmonium for help. That's where he gets his hope. We've got two things that connect him to the world. We've got the harmonium, and then they've got the phone on top there. So he has to take responsibility and make decisions in his life about nurturing this hope. So he fixes it. He puts it together. Starts to play it, starts to look after it. And here we go. Here's the score intensifying a little bit as he picks up another phone and he's speaking to, trying to deal with his credit card situation. This is the moment where he's speaking to one of the ladies and he's like, nice to meet you. This is where he feels if relationships can be made over the phone. I love how we just see how nervous he is about the situation. I've always found it interesting how the harmonium's on his desk. It's just not the most practical place to it, but yeah, I suppose the reason for it isn't practicality. What's your name? Oh, he's got a phone voice. Right, this is funny, right? So we're coming out of his comfort zone. We've got a little glimpse. Oh, forget. Time to go. There's a few strange comedic moments in the film. That's one of them where he trips up. Another is where he walks into the glass screen. And then another one is where, look how he goes to the harmonium for hope there. And sorry, another one is when the seat breaks a little bit later on. Right, this is horrible. His sister and an unknown person. Well, Lena, but to him, she's a bit unknown. The amount of questions he gets, it makes him look bad. Oh. I love how it's a little bit overexposed and that Barry's just fizzling away in the light there. Splitting the girls and him up. It's not a piano. Tries to get out of the situation, that's always a good shout. Alright, this is a great scene. See, you've got him dealing with his credit card issue. You've got his sister showing up and questioning him. You've got Lena introducing and pursuing him a little bit. Then you've got some of the work colleagues that break things. And you've got some external force of an antagonist force of the phone woman who's trying to threaten him. All that's kind of ramped up and concludes at this beautiful little point So she leaves to pay for the car, and this is when the sister ramps it up and just gives it to Barry and gives him all the questions. Look at the pace that she walks here. She is frightening. Oh, she scares me. Right, look again, just trapping him like an animal. There you go. Phone, harmonium, two sisters, or him and his sister being trapped. Right, again, pushing him right into the corner. You'll see it in a second. Pushing him right into this corner. And notice right behind the two of them, in between them, you've always got a little triangle that shows the relationship between them. Is the picture in the background is so small and everything's crushed, and it's a really tiny picture, just showing the mental state of what Barry's like at the moment. You see this in a lot of films where you've got two people in one shot, and then whatever is in the middle represents the relationship of the two people. You see it in The Graduate a lot, and other films. You'll see this used again with him and Lena when they go on their date. Well, that's just funny. This is a nice moment because this allows Barry to get to know Lena on his terms. It's almost as if there isn't. It's a situation that's created not by him, but he's realised that it's not as bad as he thought it was, and he bombards her with questions as soon as he gets over his comfort zone a little bit. This is great writing. Look how it's just always interrupting and trying to make it difficult with him, or difficult for him to make a conversation. I love Emily Thompson. I think she's great. Very different role for her, yeah. See, this is the point here where he starts to ask her loads of questions. Question. I think this is a funny moment when he checks on the guys here. You guys heard, you okay? And then walking back. See, look here what we've got again. We've got two characters, and in between the two of them, we've got the harmonium. Now a lot closer than it was when it was in the car park. Now it's bringing them right closer. This is their initial meeting, so just representing a bit of the relationship that's blooming here. So this is the first time Hawaii's mentioned, so that'll play into the things a little bit later on. Oh, look at the sister coming. She is evil. I can't help but just watch this. I mean, this is a great scene. This is the final blow here. This is just when she always talks about the shrink and the crying problem. Oh, it's horrible. Look how Barry reaches here for strength. Oh, just give me strength from the harmonium. Things were just going well with Lena, and she blows it. Ugh. Right, now Barry's quite a passive character as a lot of the film goes on until a kind of certain point. And if it was up to him, he would have left this moment. I don't think anything would have come of it. But because Lena is a very special person, some people have said, Nelly, I don't know about that, but a very special person, she takes things into her own hands. She, I think, understands Adam Sandler's character and knows that she needs to just force it a little bit. Sure. I love how the guy is just stand and watch with no reaction. That's great, right? So we're coming to the end of this whole sequence where the score first initially started and built up. So many things have happened. This is almost a nice finish to the scene because Barry seems to be getting the girl, but then there's just a little dagger right here at the end when he gets the phone call, and we realize the level of threat from this woman, or the phone woman. I always thought she was going to lean in for a kiss here, the way her head kind of ducks in. Never happened. Anyway, So here we go, phone call. Look how everything's settled. All the scores settled. And there it is. Boom. A happy but sad ending to the same scene. That's great writing. That's fantastic. Well done, PTA. Said he was going to diversify. A little bit of the graphics here. So that's her. That's the evil one who causes all the... She actually looks a bit like Lena. She's got the red, she's got the hair. Alright, so here we go. Philip Seymour Hoffman, the bad guy. A little bit of lens flare there. He actually looks a little bit like Gene Hackman in this, actually. Gene Hackman from the original Superman. I haven't mentioned that much, actually. I'll try and talk about that. Here's a little bit here. Barry Egan has got a harmonium. As we walk in this shot, right on the left there, see it on the bottom? There's a piano there, an old dusty piano. Maybe giving us the idea that Philip Seymour Hoffman's character has had a past love and has had his heart broken and knows the strength and power that love can give you. So when Barry talks about having a love in his life, maybe that's why he relates to him. They are brothers in real life, the four of them. He goes a bit over the top here, big Hoffman. Oh, I love it. Great performance. Okay, so we've got our date scene here. We've got the two of them side by side, and then in between the two of them, as I mentioned before, there was something that represents the relationship. So when it was him and his sister, we had this little tiny picture. But now, if we cut to, oh, I don't know, I'm not controlling the cuts, but we've got a really long, open, scenic poster, which, in comparison to the initial shot, just shows us the change in his in Barry Egan's psyche and his mind. I love how Barry's wearing a kind of just off red tie, a little bit purple, a little reddy purplish. This is where he talks about DJ Justice, and Superman stands for justice, hope and justice. And there's the poster at the back there, wide shot, open scenic area. Probably one of the best shots in the film in terms of color. With the color palette's really greens, strong blues, strong reds, and whites. And shadows are used a lot too. I think she's great to watch, Emily Watson. She seems so genuine, so nice in this film. I'm sure she is in real life, I don't know. Let's see, this is quite an interesting moment because he doesn't want to talk about the pudding, but just like Lena does, she manages to pull it out of him. She manages to make him feel comfortable enough so that he can open up, and that's really what Barry needs. See, here it is. Just naturally being a lovely person so that Barry feels confident enough to speak about himself. And this is when, if you just stretch your comfort zone enough, it'll help you grow. It took me a few times watching this film to actually really understand what the frequent flyer miles was all around, and going over this speech a few times, it makes sense now. And it just shows why he chose the pudding over the chicken and the soup. It's a marketing mistake. I'm taking advantage of it. So this is the obstacle that Barry will face. Is he won't be able to stay with Lena because she flies everywhere, and just like Superman, he'll learn to fly and learn to go everywhere with her. So the pudding segment of the story is what allows him to stay with her as the catalyst for them being able to stay together. Look at that little frustration as soon as his sister's mentioned. There's a little bit of green in the background just showing that his sister's is still a presence here. Oh, I hate that. That's horrible. So he's, I love this little letting out his rage section that we get in a second. And people have always said in a lot of Kubrick films, there's almost a bathroom in every Kubrick film, and this is probably as Reed destroys the bathroom with all the white he has is almost inside his mind almost. I love how he tries to rip the little thing off. She's so nice about this. I thought about this before, and she doesn't even actually get to eat. As if they go out for dinner, she doesn't eat, and then he takes her home. She must be hungry. It's almost as if Adam Sandler was a child here, and he's just lying so bad. Again, just look at the things around him, just kind of trapping him. The draped things and wherever that is in the front is kind of out of focus, and things that are just kind of trapping him to make him feel, or to show the fact that he's in an awkward situation here, especially on his date. She is very understanding. I mean, that's just the reason why. It's the reason why Barry falls for her, is that she understands, or she is able to understand him. And I love just how they start introducing the music here. And we'll see in a second I mean, just look at the color palette here. We've got reds and blues there, reds and blues in the background, and the lights. And there it is. There's another truck. I think that's probably the same truck as the first one. And on the side of it, it's got a relocation at its best. You'll see it in a second. Look at that little flash there, almost a bit like a lens flare for Lena top left. Here we go, relocation at its best. Look at all that blue and all that red. And I love this car journey. I don't think I've ever seen a car journey film like this in a film before. It's almost just heads, but it's layered with just color, blues and reds and light. Now he's thinking about lying, whether he took the harmonium, and he ends up coming up with the truth here. Yeah, he says he stole it, and she supports him. Yeah, I did. Why is it yours? Look at the color. The blue is unbelievable. It's just faces here. I mean, it's just it makes the scene so intimate between the two of them. I've always found this a fun scene. Yeah, it's good. That's funny. She doesn't understand it, but she will. She'll get it. Look at the whites and the blues and the reds. Yeah, it's just crazy. Her flat or her apartment is almost like his. Look how white it is. And bye bye. Oh, look at that. She's just about leaning for a kiss there. 216. Just trying to remember the number because I always get lost when he runs back for the numbers here. Look at the space of white around him and how he's framed inside the door frame. So he's just kind of trapped there. And look at the design of the frames. There's always little bits of red everywhere. Little square bits of red just showing that Lena's, look at there, and there's another one. Lena's just in his mind. Always like this little bit. It's quite an intimate thing before. And look again how he's on the phone. He's just unable to reach him. You have to go through the phone to get into his world. I think that's good writing. I like how they never gave him the kiss right away, and that she was thinking about him as much as Lena's been popping up in his mind. So here we go. We get a little bit of music kicks in here, and we've got, look how much white there is. We've just got, look how he's trapped in between all those things there. Running around in his own mind, trying to find hope. It's like being in The Shining. He has no idea where he is. He's in a maze. A little bit of red there. Such a playful film, this. I love the tone of it. Now, this is interesting because we've got Lena accepting him in the kiss, and Barry's feels accepted for a second, and straight after that, he feels the need to confess something because he talks about beating up the bathroom, and she doesn't flinch. She understands it. She doesn't bother. I mean, she's obviously a little bit confused about why he's bringing it up, but he needs somebody to take care of her, to take care of him. All right, here we go. We've got a little chase scene coming up. So we've got, look how the amount of white there back into this lonely world. And then just like the light protruded in and ruined the beginning scene, a kind of spotlight flashing in here as he gets chased, and the brothers steal him away. Look how freaky he looks. So I've got a lot of red in the background, so Lena's still in his mind. And this is the point where his loneliness has driven him to be in a bad way, and now he's been taken advantage of. I don't know why they do it, but as he's trying to confess and reason with the guys, he gets distracted by the sign and he just goes 99 pence, 99 cents. This is a come up. I don't know if he's distracted or he's breaking the pattern that he's in, or I just don't know why he does that. I'd like to hear what people's ideas on that are for. If you have any idea what you think that means, comment below and let us know. Got a great little chase scene here. This is visually lovely. Silhouetted there on the extreme light. And then we've got the little spotlights almost chasing them. Now, for all the Superman fans there, we've got the huge dive coming up, which when the first time you watch this and he does this, you are like, what? Where did this come from? And it really steps up the story from what it is to a little bit more surreal. Here we go, this shot here. I mean, the way he lands, that would be painful. I'm pretty sure Adam Sandler did some sort of stunt there, but that's a great jump. Good effort. We know where you live. So we've almost got Barry taking on a bit of flight there. Look at the overexposure of the light there, right back into his loneliness. However, after being on his date with Lena the night before, his heart is warming and we've got a much redder tie on. Now, I love how this shot, he's in his kind of glass area, but the curtains, not the curtains, the blinds have kind of chopped off his head. So that's just telling us that everything's going on in his head is a mess at the moment and he's not able to really focus on things. Now there's in the soundtrack, I'm sure there's something that says, see if I can hear it. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure there's somewhere in the soundtrack that says "Listen to me" or "Follow me this way," and it's the pudding basically speaking to him, giving him ideas, just the way he speaks to food in the grocery shop before. I love how Lance just does whatever he says and is so supportive of him. Oh, so look, so he's at the 99-cent store, so that's the same place he got robbed outside. So anyway, this is a great bit. So we've got, he collects up all the pudding and he does his little victory dance. I love his little victory dance. We'll see it in a little second here. It's almost a little kind of Charlie Chaplin-esque dance. Here it is here. A lot of one-point perspective shots in this film. It's very Kubrick-esque. Look at his dance. That is brilliant. See, this is great because we've got a little bit of emotional victory here. Because he feels like he's on the right path. He knows he can get the pudding, so he can get connected, and he can go back to Lena. Even though we find out in a second that doesn't work, he still goes for it anyway. So here we go. He's back on the phone, and he's so passionate about this that he's getting frustrated. He's actually, for being an antisocial person, there's a few times where he has arguments on the phone in the film, and he's good at arguing his point. As here we go, big punch, boom, and he flops over the harmonium for hope and for strength. If you notice right on his knuckles here, we've got love spelled out on his knuckles, Love. Almost as in kind of love hurts. And you look at that, it's just trying to get strength from the harmonium. So this is the moment where we're ramping up the "He Needs Me" section of the film, which is a series of scenes. Now this song originally was in Popeye and sung by, oh wait, Lance is falling, and sang by, I'm not sure if it was sang by Shelley Duvall, but Shelley Duvall was in Popeye, was olive oil in Popeye. Look at that red truck there. Look, that's just following the direction in order to get to Lena. Look at the women dressed in red there. He's following his heart. Love how he runs ahead of everybody. Now this is always interesting because it always hits a slow motion stage and the lights seem to flicker a little bit. I'm not sure if that's something to do with it's almost reminiscent of a lens flare that connects him with Lena. I don't know. He was wearing a red tie because we saw that a couple of seconds ago. However, he's wearing a yellow tie here. Now we've still got the hostess in the background here wearing red, so Lena's still in his mind, but he's never been on an airplane before, so maybe in his heart he's a bit nervous and he's a bit scared. So in this moment he's a little bit down, wearing that maybe his red's turned to yellow. But now we see him and he's in Hawaii, he's landed, he's back to the red tie again. Or I don't know, any other suggestions on why he's wearing a yellow tie in that bit? I'd like to hear why. Comment below and let us know. So look, he says he needs to go to a place where the hotels are and he needs a phone. Look at his sister wearing green there. She's wonder what that is on the left there. Anyway, so the sister's wearing green. She's just kryptonite. She is evil. Anything just brings anybody's. Sorry, the sister's presence brings him down. The Seven Sisters is also something to do with a festival in Miami. Oh, not Miami, Hawaii. And just with the festival going on here, there's a little connections between the Seven Sisters. I love this bit when he just when he tells it straight. So we've got in the background there behind all the people, we've got little glimpses of yellow. So we're getting closer and closer to the hope that was originally on Adam Sandler's face when he first discovered the harmonium. But not quite, we've got a wrong number, so we've got a second attempt coming up. And as soon as she answers the phone, boom, the phone box lights up and we've got our yellow. And also another little touch here is that Superman always goes in the phone boxes and becomes Superman, and right now we're seeing Barry on his way there. Ring, and let's get a bit of colour yellow. There we go. And I love how he just bombards her with questions here, asking if she has a boyfriend and things like that. Look at that guy on the left, he just looked right at the camera. I've never seen that before. Adam Sandler's great here, he's so funny. Yeah. So we've got Adam Sandler going into the world of Hawaii. So this is almost Lena's world. It's going to be overpowered with colours. Soon it's going to be overpowered with red when they sit outside in the evening. You call the red that's in the frame there, the carpet and the tie and the glow and the whiteness. Look at even all the white that would usually be white starting to glow with red, which is Lena glowing into his life. And Lena Leonard is LL initials. That's almost like Lois Lane. That's another little touch that's mentioned in the Superman analysis. Look at his formal handshake, and she goes straight in for the kiss. This is a great little iconic image. I think this is what they use for the this shot. It's what they use for the DVD cover and for the soundtrack and a lot of the posters for the film when it first came out. Look how their heads just kind of make a little, almost a love heart shape there, the way they kind of curve around. So here we go, where it really looks like Hawaii here. We've got Look at all the red that is mixing with the white. Barry's white is his loneliness, and that's starting to get interfered with the red. So we've got half white panels, half red panels. So Lena's taken over his life and starting to fill his emptiness with her being. Barry's happy about it. Alright, so we're also coming up to the 1 hour mark in the film, and that's generally in films where the main character has to stop becoming passive and start taking action, having some faith in his decisions and following his gut feelings, and really taking a bit of responsibility for what happens in the film. And that's coming up pretty shortly. You'll notice that in lots of other films. There's two big things you can notice in films. About 17 minutes in, you'll notice the main character conflict will be stated somehow, and then around the hour mark you'll see your main character taking some action, taking responsibility. So here we go, we've got them joining up here in a beautiful moment together. Now this is where people have said the alien theme is to do with lens flares, and it's to do with Lena coming from above and dropping in on Earth because she is so special. And I can understand that, but I love here how there's almost just little flickers. It's almost just there's sparks flying between the two of them, and there's just romance in the air, and that's I like that interpretation as well. So you'll see that in a little second here. This is it here. We've got an almost, look at that unnatural lens flare that just happened there. It's definitely a digital addition. And then I've seen Martin Scorsese use this little thing in The Departed before, where we've got a vignette that just comes down and just tells the audience to look at their connection. Follows them around the corner. And then we've got a really intimate moment between them here where there's just a little back and forth. Like that little lens flare, and it's just silly talking. It's just them connecting with each other. And what's great about this scene is they relate so well. She says as silly things as he does, and then he takes it too far. But just after this moment when he is accepted by her, he feels the need again to confess something, and he confesses other things about himself that he thinks could be a potential relationship breaker, but she just keeps loving him. So this is here when he confesses. I can't remember what it is he says here. Oh yeah, he talks about the bathroom. And then right here, she just embraces him. She just holds him. So here we go. We've got a little bit of conflict coming up, and we've got Adam Sandler taking responsibility and taking action. Well, when they get back and the car crash happens. This is a nice moment because Emily's character, she agrees with his sister that he is a bit weird. And then her sister stands up for him for a little second. And it's a nice little payoff. It's a nice little payoff moment. There we go. Just a little payoff for a bit of love from his sister. Now what we've got coming up is he admits that he's just there for her and that he doesn't have any business. But then we also quickly realise that Lena flies everywhere, and that there's going to be an obstacle between the two of them because they're not going to be able to be together because she is away all the time. And you see a little glimpse of doubt and sadness in Adam's performance. Look at Adam Sandler does his reaction shots are hilarious. He almost doesn't do anything. So here's a little bit of him starting to take responsibility, starting to fight back against things that have taken him down and taken advantage of him. So he phones back this woman and leaves a message. Again, he's on the phone. So he's on the phone, and we've got a little glimpse of green there. It's a little bit of maybe to do with his sisters, or maybe just to do with maybe it's part of the colour design, maybe a bit of kryptonite. Probably mentioning the fact about the police here that send the brothers after him again. And then we're off to the airport. Thank you. I love how it says a wee thank you in the screen there. And look, she's even wearing a bit of blue, so Adam's starting to have a bit of effect on her. That's nice to see. We've got some red and the blue in the airplane in the background there. And look again, the screen's almost split into thirds, and we've got them right down the middle. There's a lot of silhouettedness and silhouetted shots in this film. Yeah, so a bit of doubt here from Adam Sandler's character. He's so simple, he plays it so well. You've seen him in other films like Waterboy and Little Nicky, and he can just do outrageous performances. And I think he's hilarious. I think he's great, but he's really well. He does a great job here. So here we go. We've got flickering yellow with a little bit of white, opening us up to we're almost home and safe, and then boom. I love the way they spin it. They're almost like little dolls. It's hilarious. I'm pretty sure the wheel's broken. There's no way you could get back in the car and drive after this. Oh, drip of blood on the side there. So this is look at that wheel. It's totally broken. So we've got another display of super strength here. He is just solid. This is great. I love how the fourth brother is so scared that he doesn't take any action. Look at there's just no fear in Barry there. When he knows what he has to stand up for, there's no fear in him. Now this is a good little. There's another sequence that kind of ramps up, which links a lot of scenes together. It begins with the music now, and it's him basically confronting Philip Seymour Hoffman's character. There's a whole series of shots that kind of wind up with the climax of that happening shortly, and this is where it begins. He's sneaking away. Look how sneaky he is. So he wants to take responsibility. He wants to solve this issue so that he can be with Lena, and else it'll never happen again. And he knows he has to confront it. Oh, there's the moon landing footage there. Right. Oh well, there you go. I love how we're coming into his glass container, and the whole world is different from when the film started. We've got harmoniums in there. We've got posters damaged. We've got phones all over the place. I love how he argues. I think he's brilliant. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, he is just. I mean, he's not like super evil like in No Country for Old Men or anything, but he is just. He has no time for you. I think he is horrible. He's fun to watch. I love this bit. Look at that. He's so short with her. You're in trouble, honey. His performance here is so funny. That's great. Hurt my girl. I love how he has his first conflict with the mattress man on the phone. And if you've got the DVD and the special features, there's a recreation of a real commercial with Philip Seymour Hoffman playing the mattress man. In real life, there was a real advert that had him jump off a truck and fall. And they recreate it with a little bit of special effects. And if you watch the DVD, or it'll be on YouTube as well. I'll put a link to it on this. It's brilliant. Look at that lens flare. That's going to bring us into a little bit of coloured images. Or no, to Lena. Now look at this bit. Barry leaves the room. His phone is still connected to his ear. The phone cord is dangling, and he runs full pelt with the cord. It's almost as like an umbilical cord. He's still connected to. Look at the yellow glow in the background there. He's still connected to his inside world through phones, and he refuses to leave it. So he goes back to the hospital to find Lena. She's not there. He still has the phone behind his back there. Look at it. There's a real moment when she's been discharged, and he just thinks here. You can just watch a little bit of camera movement here, and you just see him. He knows what that means. We see a bit more of the roof closing in on him. This is where we see the colour coming up here. Look at the frame just trapping him in there again. Look at that colour transition us through to Utah. There's another little 1 point perspective shot coming up here. Yeah, it's nice. For those who enjoy the Superman theory, we've got look at Philip Seymour Hoffman. First of all, his name is the Mattress Man, so he's almost got like a superhero name in the film. And because he's wearing the cloak to get his hair cut, when he stands up, it's almost as if he's wearing a cape. Coupled with the kind of green that's around there. And now, if you listen to the soundtrack right now, I'm sure there's somewhere that says "Lonely Blue Boy," referring to Adam Sandler's character. I think it's playing right now. It's in the background. I'll see if I can turn it up for you. And that's referring to Adam in his suit. And look at the lens flare from the background. And then when they both approach each other here, in the background there's a huge beam of light coming from Adam's side, and that's just Lena's strength, just giving him strength to do what's right. And the lens flare there just goes right through his mouth, and it's just giving him strength of the right things to say. There's that beam of light there coming down as if from God or something. Look at the difference in their shape of heads. They are two different looking people. And I love how the climax of this film is. This bit here is, it's so simple. There's not huge fights or um, lots of cuts and crazy music and all the characters brought together. It's just a little toe-to-toe face-off between the good guy and the bad guy. But we're invested. Got a little Hawaiian guitar at the back there. And look at that. After he confirms that he's dealt with them, this is when he finally gets rid of the phone. There he is there, hands over to the shop. So leaves it where the bad things are, and now I'm finally done with it. Now this is really the climax of the film when you do bring everything together, as he takes the harmonium to Lena. Little lens flare at the bottom there. See, a lot of directors use lens flares as for aesthetic purposes, but PTA here has used it as a kind of thematic storytelling device. I wonder how heavy that harmonium was. So he brings the harmonium, he brings what connects them, brings it right together. Now he knows good things have happened, just like the kind of ramp up of the scene before. We know that good things have happened, but you know that he has left Lena in the hospital and he's done a bad thing. And he needs to explain himself. So he is desperately here trying to do what he can to get Lena back. And if you're Lena, this must be a pretty crazy argument to listen to. It's a touching little moment. She's tough with him too, but she understands him. And that's it. I mean, that's the climax of the film right there. The red and the blue embrace each other. Barry finds love and is able to go with her everywhere because he's got frequent flyer miles now, and she's happy, he's happy. And here we go, the final shot of the film. We're back in the Fortress of Solitude here. Look at all the glass in the background. And then Barry's got the S or the red on his tie, on his chest. And Lena becomes the cape at the back here, and she hugs him around the neck. And look how he's playing perfectly in sync to the music. A little lens flare on the left there. That's it, Punch Drunk Love. We made it. So for me, Punch Drunk Love is definitely a must-see film. I want to thank you for sharing and spending this time with me, and I hope this has been insightful, and I hope I've helped you see this film differently. I invite you to join the conversation on Facebook or on Twitter, or email me your film suggestions and film questions, or any films that you think are worthy of analysis. And also join my newsletter for updates on new releases. Thanks for listening.